the fastest time to achieve 100 assists in the English Football Premier League, 293 matches, and was achieved by me playing for Arsenal and Chelsea between 2004 and 2016. Well, thank you. It's been a successful career. Well, it is being, I mean, it's not finished yet. You know, I like to live in the present because I think for me it's the best job in the world, and I know that unfortunately, you know, when footballers retire, we are still very, very young, and that's why, you know, I try to enjoy it to the very maximum. You know, I like to live in the present, and then I'll have time to remember all of these things when I finish. Well, I started very young. Even when I made my debut at 16 for Arsenal, and I was training every day, you know, with the first team and with the likes of Thierry, Patrick, Dennis Bergkamp, Robert Pires. I mean, it was a dream, but even making my debut and being there for a whole season, I still didn't think I made it, you know. For me, it was just like a dream. The year before, I was playing for the under 15 at Barcelona, and then all of a sudden, you are 6 months later making your debut for the Arsenal first team. So everything, you know, became very quick. And after, when I was 17, and at the end of the season, you've seen that you've played over 50 games already, and you know, you win the FA Cup final, and you are involved, and you're playing, and you see that the club, Arsene Wenger, believes in you a lot. Then you're starting to open your eyes to believe that it could happen, but only if I keep going the same way that I was doing, you know, working hard, believing in myself, enjoying, because it's also the good part about this job is you do what you love the most, and you have to enjoy it. But definitely it was very hard work. I could say that when I was very, very little, yeah, my dream was to play football. I don't even know at what level, because you are so small. You just want to believe that one day you'll make it as a professional football player. Then my other dream was to play for Barcelona, which was the club that I followed up, you know, for since I'm 9 months old, that my granddad took me to the stadium for the first time. But you know, winning World Cups, winning Euros for your country, playing so many years for Arsenal, for even winning for Barcelona, playing with Messi, Piqué, that we played together, you know, for so many years at the academy, then going to Chelsea, winning Premier Leagues and stuff. I never even believed that this could ever happen, you know. It's just my dream was, yeah, you know, as a kid, to play for Barcelona, to be a professional football player, but the rest of what has happened, you know, it's more than what I could have asked for. It just comes naturally. I mean, when you are so little, you don't really think of what could happen in 10 years or in 7 or 8 years. You just enjoy. You can see that some of your teammates are good, some are not so good, so you obviously have an eye for that. I mean, even if you are a young kid, you can see the talent, but you could never imagine that of that generation of '87 at La Masia that we could make it for so many players at the first team, because it's not only us three, you know, who probably you could say are the three names who made it or are more recognized in world football, but there are 5 or 6 or 7 players that they played in, you know, for the first team in top La Liga clubs as well, in second division, or they went to other countries to become professional football players. So I would say that 60–70% really made their life from football. It's very difficult. You know, you are a kid. If you ask me, sometimes they ask me, what would you have done if you were not a professional football player? I don't know. I started so young that it's impossible for me. Even now, you speak to 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, they don't know what they will do. They're still trying to find themselves, you know. I went there alone, fighting for a dream, you know, but it's very difficult. That's why You know, I was fortunate, I was lucky that someone really believed in me, gave me an opportunity very early. After, it was up to me to take it, obviously. But you know, not everyone have the same opportunities. That's why sometimes, you know, people go to other countries, they get lost, and you never hear from them again. So it's difficult. It's a difficult situation, because for me, I could say yes, 100%, because it worked for me. But at the same time, I know how much work, how much luck as well you have to have, and probably 1 or 2 or 3 over 100 will make it of who tried. So the other 97 will be telling me, oh, you told me that, you know, it's a good idea, but probably their experience will not be good. That's why it's difficult to give an advice on that. But if it has to work out of how it went for me, then I would say definitely, but it's tough. Numbers or stuff like that through your career, it says one thing, that you've done your job well, which that's what makes me very proud and happy. But a midfielder is not only assist, you know, it's many more things, but definitely this is one of the most difficult things for me in football, to play in the 3/4 of the pitch and have a final pass, the same way that you know, all the strikers probably get the goals and the most recognition. That's why for me the strikers are well deserved on how much they get paid, and they should always be the top earners, because they make the biggest difference. But in the second scale, I think you know, having an assist and create chances for your teammates is probably the second most difficult thing, because defenders, you know, sometimes we're playing against so many teams that 11 players behind the ball, and especially in the Premier League, in a physical league like this, because you know, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the most flexible, I don't jump high, but you know, to achieve this kind of record for me is one of the proudest things in my job, because it is my job, and that means that I did it well. I cannot even tell you how I see it on the pitch myself, because it's sometimes in half a second that you see one thing before the ball comes, and you know exactly what you will do, or you see a pass that after you see it on TV, and I don't even remember how I saw it. So it's difficult for me to explain how it happens, but I think the sharp trainings that I had, and with quality players at Barcelona, the academy, the trainings at Arsenal with Arsene Wenger were very, very good. When you go to this level at this very young age, sometimes in the middle of a training, I was just with my mouth open, like couldn't believe it, what I was seeing, the first touches of Dennis Bergkamp, the finishing of Thierry Henry, the presence of Vieira, you know, all these things, that I was just very fortunate to be there. No, the moment of the World Cup final is, I think for all of us, the 23 players that were there, is the peak of our career, without any doubt. I mean, in that moment, Fernando Torres had the ball on the side, and he was trying to aim across, or yeah, kind of a cross long ball to Andres Iniesta. And I don't know, don't ask me why, but I will always remember that. I had the feeling that the defender, in that case I think it was Van der Vaart, that was going to make a mistake. I saw that the ball was not going to reach Iniesta, and I don't know why, I tried to anticipate the mistake of the defender, and thankfully, for whatever reason, it did go where I exactly predicted and I wanted the ball to go. And from there, it was not the most beautiful, it was not the most amazing assist, but a simple pass broke the line, because I think the defenders, they tried to come up to play the offside, and you know, as well, the timing of the pass is very, very important. In that case, you know, it worked very, very well, and it got us the World Cup, which is the best memory we could all have. We knew that after winning the Euros 2008 that we were favorites, because not only because we won it, but the way we won it. You know, we played beautiful football in that Euros. I remember the quality of that team was very, very high. And then with Del Bosque as a new manager, we changed a few things. Instead of having one more creative midfielder, advanced midfielder, you know, he opted more for to be a little bit more conservative with Xabi Alonso in the side, and it worked for most parts of not even in the tournament itself, but the 2 years before, you know, trying to qualify. But there were moments that we were not trying to, or we could not unlock the defense, that we were having difficulties, that then he would change and he would put the likes of Silva, myself, to create something different, you know. And I think it worked for him very, very well. And after that, to have the pressure of being a favorite in a World Cup is not easy. And then we started losing the first game against Switzerland. So it made it even more difficult for us, and the tension was very, very high in the group stage, to be honest. We were even a bit lucky to have gone through to the last 16 and as a first in the group. So every game we won 1-0. That means and shows you that yeah, you could have a fantastic team as we did, but a World Cup is very difficult. And you know, we could have gone out against Paraguay easily. They had we didn't play well at all. They had probably the best game of their careers. They missed a penalty. We scored straight away after their penalty. So little things that you need to have to win a World Cup. Sometimes, you know, a bit of luck in those decisive moments. We had that, and then it's true that in the key moments we were always on top. To win three tournaments in a row like this for a national team, I think it's very tough. It will be very difficult for someone to beat that, because generations normally, you know, to stick together, they last 2, 3, 4 maximum years that you could get them. But to have them all at their peak is very, very difficult, and we had that, and you know, the togetherness we had. And in that team, the belief, the confidence, we know that we are the best and we will show it on the pitch. We were not just thinking, oh, you know, they're saying we are the best and that's enough for us, you know, to go and win the game. No, we really showed character in important moments throughout the 4 years, and that's not easy. That's not easy at all. We had characters in the team, very important, that never allowed, you know, the young players or anyone to go to sleep. And I think the character and ambition of the group was remarkable. Success means that you win stuff. Last year we won the FA Cup, but maybe being outside of the Champions League, some people will not even call it successful. That's the type of club you are in, you know. You are in a top club that demands nearly perfection, and that's what I like. This is what I've been through all my career. This is why I chose this club. Jose Mourinho, when he signed me, he showed me and made me realize and believe that, you know, this club is a winning club, that he wants to win. And that's why I made that step. If I didn't believe that, I would have never come here, you know, because I want to win, and I want to play always for clubs and teams that try to achieve at least, you know. After anything can happen in football, there are top teams now that make it very difficult, and you cannot always win, unfortunately, because otherwise the game would become so boring. But you know, in the last 4 years, we've won more than Man City, we've won more than Man United, we've won more and Liverpool and Arsenal, Spurs. So, and it looks sometimes like, you know, we are not as good as the rest. And it's true that, for example, Man City now, they are doing a fantastic team. You know, for me, they have the best team without a doubt, and they've recruited players very, very well. But the fact is that in the last 4 years, we've won more than them, and more than anyone in the country. So, you know, that means we are doing things right, but we want to achieve more, 100%. I think it's the most competitive league in the world, and that's not even a doubt. I played in Spain for 3 years as well. I had the luck to win the title there too, and it's no disrespect or criticize to La Liga, but there were games that you're going to win. In England, it's impossible. It's impossible. At home, you could play against the last team in the league, you could lose, and that's why to do it for so many years, I really admire all these players that have all their careers, in this club. No winter break, 4 competitions. That's more than any other league in Europe. While everyone is on holiday, having Christmas, with their families, we are the only country, who is playing physical league, is improving a lot tactically, technically as well. And yes, La Liga is probably technically the best league in the world, but I believe the toughest league in the world, physically and mentally, is the Premier League without a doubt. No, keep winning, keep getting better, training, waking up, getting ready to do what you love the most. It's not. I never take it for granted. I never skip the training. I have to be really badly injured for me to skip a training session or not to travel with the team, or even when a coach sees that you've played many games and wants to rest you or whatever. I don't like that. If I have to play injured and I can take it, I will do it. And sometimes in my career, I've been saying, oh, now I have more experience. If I feel something, I should just reserve myself and stuff. But when the day comes, I cannot do it. I have to play, and I will force myself. And this is the mentality that I want, that I've had throughout my career. And as I said, sometimes I believe without this mentality, it was impossible for me to achieve what I've done or what I'm doing in the Premier League, because as we said, it's physically so tough, mentally so tough, and physically I'm not the most gifted person or player. So you need to be ready every 3 days, every day, to compete in the top clubs in the European football: Arsenal, Barcelona, Chelsea. National team 10 years, trying to win, people demanding from you. It's tough, but and without mentality, you will last 2, 3, 4 years. But to do it for 16 years, 15 years, that's what makes me proud, and hopefully there are more to come.
Way back in 10 plus years ago.
I think the Premier League changed, especially tactically, a lot. If you see games from the past, you will see players a little bit, strikers not coming to defend too much, not being in position at the right time. And I think a lot of, especially the young coaches now, what they want to work on a lot, nearly every day, is tactically, always having the right shape. We know in England especially, the counter-attacks, there is very fast players, strong players. They could be a long ball, they do nothing for 90 minutes. A long ball, you're winning 1-0 or 0-0, then you end up losing in the 93rd minute. It has happened 1,000 times in the Premier League. And I think everyone, now when you attack, when you defend, it's always very important to have the right shape, the right balance in the team. And I think these young new coaches especially are one step ahead of the ones of last 10, 15, 20 years. And the football is having an evolution, very positive evolution, not only in the Premier League, around the world. Nowadays, it's difficult to score a goal. That's why I'm going back to saying that to score a goal, to make an assist, for example, at the World Cup, watching all the games, there was good build-up play, but when you get into the zone of the number 10s, when you have to really make the difference for the final pass or do something different, there was lacking a lot of quality. And that's because, sometimes it's because of the quality, sometimes it's because tactically the teams are much better in shape. That's why I'm saying that it's very difficult, you know, nowadays, the number 10s, you know, to create chances and to have assists like before, and the strikers, it's more difficult to score goals for them.